What's up guys, it's me, Jeremy. Just before we start, I wanted to announce that I'm going to be doing a new $400 RP giveaway with some friends. It's super easy to enter. All you need to do is just check the link in the description and follow the instructions there, and there's going to be a bunch of winners, so good luck, and let's jump right into the video. Today we're back with another list of champions, but this time we're talking about some of the best choices for players who are looking to main or one-trick a single hero. Now obviously there's a ton of really obvious champs that have very high mechanical intensity like Riven and Vayne that might be on the more fun side and would be recommended for players who are really hardcore trying to one-trick a champion, but I wanted to go outside the box a little and talk about the advantages to one-tricking some characters that maybe aren't as popular despite being really strong in the right hands. Our list today was crafted by our challenger analyst eThug, who helped us put this list together, so you can find his links in the description as always. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it or let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to subscribe for some more videos. So the first champion on our list today is one that I personally think is really fun to play, and that is Akali, who is surprisingly overlooked by quite a lot of people in the community. There's this sort of idea going around that Akali is a champion that can only really be used to stomp lower ranks, but that's definitely not the case, as players like Professor Akali, and I think he's the current rank 1 TF Blade, have proven as well. Akali has insane assassination power in the right hands, and the combination of stealth and mobility means you have tons of tools to outplay your opponents too. The most important thing to keep in mind when it comes to Akali is that you do have limits. If you're smashing buttons too much and you get caught without energy, then your effective DPS drops just off the face of the earth, and you never want to get caught by a group of enemies. Instead, focus on searching for lone enemies to pick off one by one. Hard crowd control and wards can make life pretty difficult at times, but as you build up your experience with Akali and start to learn the common ward spots, you can start finding creative paths to sneak up on enemies and secure kills even if they're making a huge effort to stop you. Next up, we've got Nidalee, and thanks to her popularity as a jungler, you often see a huge mix in the skill of the average Nidalee player. It's really easy to tell the difference between someone that is new to Nidalee and someone that has really put in the time to get good with her, since Nidalee's kit does require some pretty intimate mechanical knowledge to use it effectively. Most of this is all about learning to consistently animation cancel her Q, since that means using all of your abilities fluidly and allows you to maximize your DPS for some really nice, clean gameplay. Another advantage to picking up Nidalee as your one trick is that she's just really fun to play, and she's also really challenging and has a ton of different builds you can use. So overall, it's really important since it can get kind of boring to one-trick a champion that just has the same item build every time, but with Nidalee, you can get quite creative depending on who you are against. She's definitely a very difficult champion to play, but that just makes mastering her even more rewarding, and I know a lot of players who want to one-trick a champion often look for characters that are on the more difficult side because the process of learning and mastering the champion is something that's quite fun. So if that's you, definitely try out Nidalee. So our number 3 pick is Rek'Sai, and it's a champion that our analyst actually used to one-trick during Season 6. His style involved ignoring most tank items and going for a practically full AD build, which is ideal for people that are really familiar with Rek'Sai's kit. When you're starting out, you should probably opt for tankier builds with Cinderhulk, since they're a lot more forgiving to play with, and then as you develop your Rek'Sai skills, you can start mixing in more and more attack damage items until you're just hard carrying games through your ganks alone. There's a lot of really cool little mechanics and plays that you can make, like stopping jumps with knockups or predicting flashes with your burrowed Q, so there's definitely enough skill expression in her kit to make her an interesting choice. Another advantage of Rek'Sai is her reasonably low pick rate, so you're going to be able to pick her in most games without anyone complaining or locking her beforehand, which is definitely an issue that some of the more popular champions often have. LeBlanc is a champion that is up next, and she's someone that kind of dropped in popularity quite a bit after her big rework. She's still played a little bit often, but tends to hover around a somewhat low win rate since she's a little bit tricky for newer players to pick up. However, those win rate numbers are a little bit deceiving, and they change really quickly, with the win rate for LeBlanc increasing up to 8 or more % once you're looking at players who have over 100 games played on LeBlanc in a season. This really comes down to the fact that you just need to be skilled to use LeBlanc correctly, and you only gain that skill and experience by playing her lots. Right now she's definitely a little bit on the weaker side compared to some of the other meta mid laners, but you can always outplay any champion in the game with her if you take the time to become familiar with her tricks. Although everyone knows LeBlanc is an assassin and made for killing, she's actually great at split pushing too, which can often result in a kill or two anyway, since the enemy team will have to stop your push eventually. Her build is super versatile, and we've even talked about the effectiveness of AD LeBlanc recently, so maybe if you try that out, you're definitely not going to be getting bored anytime soon. Jace is a champion I personally would highly recommend, since he always seems to be pretty much immune to the meta shifts. He gets played about the same no matter what patch you're on, and that's definitely an important factor for people looking to one-trick him between seasons. Jace isn't too difficult to pick up and play, but he is extremely hard to master, so we recommend checking out top laner streams to maybe see how they use him and play him in lane, or some of the other intricate mechanics. Despite the ease of playing him, he doesn't really see play in the lower ranks, which makes him a great choice for any low rank player that wants to main one champion only and climb all the way to the top to the highest elos, since Jace really just gets stronger as you become better at using his kit effectively. So our next champion pick is one that players just always kind of never really seem to know how to play against, and it's Rengar, and he relies on you having really high game knowledge to play him properly. He's rarely ever picked or banned, but he can efficiently play in top or jungle and will absolutely stomp lower elo games in the hands of a skilled Rengar. He definitely shares similarities between his rival Kha'Zix, but most people tend to find Rengar maybe a little bit more fun to play, I would imagine. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but he's definitely fun to play regardless. You may find yourself jumping in and dying quite a lot to start with, but as you play more games, he becomes extremely rewarding, and there's lots of high skill Rengar players that you can watch to learn to use him properly. Next up, we've got an AD carry for you, though he can be played in the jungle or the top lane too if you're maybe feeling a bit creative. Twitch is one of those AD carries that can just walk away with the entire game, but rather than focusing on mechanical outplays, he's really all about positioning. Once you have your first two items, you'll start putting out a ton of damage. Aside from the positioning, he's really easy to play, at least compared to some of the more mechanically intense AD carries, and can easily roam so you can help out your other lanes once you finish pushing down the first turret. Players that like to go crazy from level 1 might prefer a more aggressive AD carry like Draven, but if you're a patient person that doesn't mind waiting for the mid-game scaling and carrying the endgame, Twitch is definitely perfect for you, and he's also got tons of really interesting and fun shenanigans using his stealth. Next on the list today, we've got Vladimir, and he's arguably the easiest champion on our list to play. His Sanguine pool makes it pretty much impossible to die before or after level 6 unless you make a really big misplay and get cocky while it's on cooldown. If you play Vladimir for over 50 games, you'll realize he's a somewhat simple champion, at least compared to some of the others on this list. Just make sure you've got the ideal runes and masteries and you'll be set to grind to diamond and beyond. He's rarely picked or banned despite being one of the strongest mages in the game currently. Although simple champions aren't necessarily the most fun to one-trick from a mechanical perspective, they allow you to focus more on your macro game, which is something that a lot of players might neglect when they're trying to improve. If you think you're a highly mechanically skilled player that is maybe struggling to climb, it might work out for you to try a carry champ like Vladimir that will help you focus on those other skills. That's going to be it for the end of our list today. As always, hope you guys enjoyed, and definitely recommend you check out some of our other videos that will hopefully help you climb too. Since we featured a lot of junglers today, it might be a good idea to check out our list of 5 OP tricks that you guys should consider abusing in the jungle, since they're a great starting point for abusing these champions. Either way, looks like that's going to be it from this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.